how do we organize and create a life that we want, right? We have to have life-changing habits for success. That's the way. You have to get clarity. You have to get insight that you want. You have to know why you want it. You have to know how to get it. And then you have to create habits and stack those habits together to get where you want to go. And what happens is too many people are the effect, the unwilling, unconscious effect of most of what's going on around them in life. And so what happens, life is happening to them, not from them or for them. And to the extent it's happening from them, it's a response to what's happening to them. I saw a really good movie the other night, and it was about, it was called The Order. And it was about some white supremacist, white nationalists in Idaho back in the 80s who wanted to create a race revolution in America. And the FBI agent says something very, very interesting. He says, you know what all of the folks who believe this have in common? That someone has done something to them and now they have to get back at the others. It's something has been done to them. That it's someone else's fault that their life is the way it is. And that's the best quote of that made the whole movie worth watching. And what we have to realize is that we, after the age of 18 or maybe 16, depending upon who you are, most of the influences in your life that have started to create your brain and the architecture of what you believe and think and feel, most of it's already in there. And now it's your job, our jobs, to go in and sort it out and to say, do I believe this? Should I believe this? Do I do this? Should I do this? Am I related to this person? Am I connected to this person? Do I want to be? You have choice. And understanding, the first thing is understanding that you are not the unintended consequences of the first 16, 18 years of your life. That you can stop at any point, draw a line in the sand and say, enough of this crazy, whatever it is. I want to create the life I want. And now I have to figure out what that is, what it looks like, and how to do it. So Les Brown, who is one of my favorite motivational speakers, Les Brown says, I don't care how bad the town is you're in, there's almost always a bus leaving town or a train or hitchhike or get the hell out any way you can. Because what it means is that, and it's a metaphor in a sense for life, it doesn't matter how bad the life you're living is, you have a chance to change it. If you decide, where am I? First question, where do I want to go? How do I get there? Who can help me? What resources do I need to do it? And how resourceful, as Tony Robbins would say, how resourceful can I be to make that happen? So we have to ask ourselves, how bad is it, right? One of the challenges is the old frog in the boiling water. We can be in a really bad situation, but we either grew up in it so we don't know how bad it is, or how oppressive it is, or how difficult it is, or how unnecessarily bad it is. Or maybe it's just a little bit bad and a little bit difficult and we're tolerating it. Tolerating it is, boy, that's a very hard thing, because you can tolerate this and then it gets bigger and then more tolerating and more tolerating. And next thing you know, you're in a life and you're 45 or 50 years old and you've tolerated your whole damn life things that you don't really want and didn't really want, but never felt that you were aware of or never had the power, the personal power to change, to get a hold of. And let's be honest, many people have circumstances that are brutal and hard. I'm not naysaying that. I want to acknowledge that and respect that. The struggle is real for most people who are struggling. And the fact is that there's two reasons why we struggle. One is the external situation we're in. Maybe I have some sort of a disability, or I have a challenge of lack of education, or I never got the understanding or mentoring or tutoring that I needed. Or maybe I grew up in a neighborhood that is either radically poor and rural or radically poor and urban. These are all things that are actual conditions that people grow up in. And there are people who arise out of that. Some of the best athletes in the world have come from some of the hardest circumstances, because I'm like, that's my way out right there. I'm going to get out and I'm going to do it this way. Other people have built entire businesses and become wildly successful because that angst and that pressure and that tension forced them to rise up and go create something different in life. It's much worse, I think, to have just a little bit of bad in your life that just grows slowly so you don't notice it. And then you're 40, 50, 60 years old and you go, what the hell happened? That's tragic. So it doesn't matter where you are, right? Because I'm turning 63 soon. But it doesn't matter where you are in life. You can stop right now. You can watch videos. You can learn. You can fill your mind with good books. You can read almost any book online now for free, or listen to a video. Let's say there's a book you want and it's $25. I'm like, I don't have $25. I'm like, great. Go to YouTube, Put the name of the author and the name of the book in there. You're going to find something that's 30 to 45 minutes or an hour or more on a podcast where the person's talking about the book. You can at least get a whole bunch of it in your head, or get a library card. It's amazing. They still have libraries and library cards. And if your library doesn't have it, you can ask them for library loan and they'll grab it from another library and bring it and you can read it. We all have habits. A habit is something that we're doing typically unconsciously over and over and over again, like getting up in the morning and the first thing you do is get a glass of water, or getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth, or leaving your clothes out the night before for the gym so you go work out. Those are all habits. Many people have healthy habits and many people have unhealthy habits. We all have a combination of them. Everyone does. I do. You do. Everyone does. So the question is, are the habits serving you? And here's how you have to look at it. You have to say, look, I want to build habits that support my future self, not me today, because the habits I have gotten me where I am today. Habits in thinking, habits of health, habits of diet, habits of relationships, habits of work, saving money, all these different kinds of things, spirituality. Your habits have gotten you where you are today. And if we want to get to a different place, if we want a better future, if we want a different future, we have to create different habits. The reason why you want them to be habits is so you don't change them. The idea of a habit is that you keep going and going. If you have the habit of reading a journal every day, or journaling every day, or reading a particular podcast every day, the transcript from that is a habit. If you want a better habit, then find out what would a better habit look like. What would a better habit be? So, for example, in the different areas of your life, whether it's your physicality, whether it's your work and job and career, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your finances, whether it's your spirituality, whatever those areas of your life are, and there's generally about 12, and we have a document that will give you, that shows you what those are, the plateaus of potential of life, and the areas of your life where you can manifest what you want. In those, you can actually look and say, what is my life, as objectively as I can, as clear as I can? What does my life look like in my relationships? What does my life look like in my health? What does my life look like here and here and here, and money and so forth? What you're going to find is, and there's a statement that I don't agree with 100%. However, there's a truth inside of it, a kernel of truth. And it says, how you do something is how you do everything. And it's just not true. And it's also very powerful. It's not true all by itself. And that's the end of the statement. The statement is, how you do something can help you in how you do everything. In other words, if you build the discipline of getting up at 5:30 in the morning and going to the gym before work, if you have that time, or if you get off work and you go to the gym directly, and you eat healthier food that comes from the outside of the store, around the edges of the store, not inside in a box or a can, but real actual food that you make, if you can do that, if you can pay attention to your nutrition and your sleep and some other things, what you're going to find out is that you can create habits around all of those. Like we talked about before, the brushing of your teeth. If you're supposed to floss and you want to floss, and you should, wrap the floss around the toothbrush until it becomes an automatic habit for you every time you brush your teeth. So you look for, what are the life-changing habits that I can create in these areas, right? That we went through them, but you create healthy habits in each one of those. If you have an unhealthy habit, you want to change it, and you want to replace it with a new habit. You can't fight what you don't want. You have to create something better. And you have to create a newer, better, easier way for you to do it. And the best way to do that is to take one habit you're already doing and connecting it or stacking it with another habit. In other words, if you brush your teeth, great. Put the toothbrush on the sink. So make sure you brush your teeth with the toothpaste so it's ready. Then you wrap the floss around it. Then if you have a water jet or one of those things, you fill it with water, you have it ready, you pull it out and you set it right next to it, and you put a little towel in case water splashes. In other words, I'm just giving you a concept here. If you want better food, start by cleaning out your fridge of the crappy food. Clean out your closet of the crappy food. Don't say, I'll eat it and then I'll buy new food. If you can afford it, just get rid of it and get healthier food. If you can't afford it, then set yourself a date where you're going to begin to buy healthier food starting today. And how fast can you replace the unhealthy food with healthy food? Right? These kinds of things. If you're not saving money, go ahead and say, how much money do I need to do this, to do that, to do so on, a car, a house, a vacation, whatever. I want to get married, whatever. And decide, how much do I need and how do I get it? So the point I'm making here is that you can build life-changing habits, but you have to know, where am I now and where do I want to go? What does it look like? Who can help me get there? And what do I need to do to make sure I'm tracking my progress, like with a little journal? For example, imagine you're driving a car to work every day. Let's call it a 25-minute drive or a 30-minute drive. That means you have 25 to 30 minutes, provided you're a good enough driver and you know how to pay attention and listen to something at the same time. You can listen on your iPhone, your Android, or whatever you have to a podcast that is getting you closer to another goal that you want. Because let's say you want to learn about finances. Well, you can go listen to this guy named Prof. G, Professor Scott Galloway. He teaches all about finances and money. Fantastic, online, free. You can listen to 100 hours of his materials or someone else, for example. But the point is that if you are rolling 1 hour of driving a day, you have a 1 hour university opportunity. You've already got the habit of driving to work, right? Hopefully you have the habit of, paying attention while you drive. Now you can just add in the habit. You can stack in there the habit of going ahead and listening to something that's going to fill your mind with ideas. Okay. Here's another trick habit. What I do is if I hear something, if I'm not driving, let's say you're carpooling with someone or you're at the gym or somewhere else, I have a habit of opening my email, sending to myself, and then just using voice to text to send myself ideas or thoughts or to-dos or so forth. So it's out of my head. Why is this a good habit? Because if you try and remember everything that's going on around you, it's too much. Most people can't remember more than 5 to 7 things. Well, if you already have a full life with a family and a job and relationships and dealing with all these things, and you're supposed to pick up milk at the store, and now you have to add more things to it, you'll forget them. So you want to leave your mind as open as possible and have a habit of, at the end of the day, writing everything down, getting it out of your head, getting it onto paper or journal, whatever, your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, right? And you put that onto paper and now it's out of your head, you'll sleep better. So now you're creating a habit of sleeping better because you created a habit of journaling. And these habits tend to cascade into upward spirals of success. The more you have the self-discipline to get up in the morning and work out means you're more likely to put your gym clothes out before, which means you're probably going to make your lunch for the next day or put your protein powder together. And that probably means you're smart enough to brush your teeth and floss. And that probably means, and that probably means, and so on and so on. What happens is you get into a virtuous cycle of upward success rather than doing things that degrade your life over time in a downward spiral of failure. So you've already got a habit of listening so far in this podcast. Congratulations, you built a new positive habit. The next habit is to go down below and click on subscribe and like and share it with a friend. So have a habit of sharing positive information with your friends and your family and your colleagues and so forth, because now you're enhancing their life. You're leveling them up, which is pulling you up together like a team of people going up a mountain. The next thing is, if you also look down below, you'll see there's a link for a wonderful ebook that I've created for you. Change your mind, change your life. It's all about habits and changing your mind and ways to grow. I hope you'll download it, share it, and enjoy it.